What's worse than someone who talks a big game and then gets his butt kicked? Try a guy who talks a big game and then backs away in fear. In this case, that would be Donald Trump Jr. Welcome to Occupy Democrats. I'm David Reddish. Donald Trump Jr. has a reputation almost as bad as his father's. In the lead up to the 2024 presidential campaign, for example, Don Jr. hawked special Trump Bibles. Also called the We the People Bible, the leather-bound book also contained copies of the Constitution, Declaration of Independence, and the Pledge of Allegiance. The books sold for $60 a pop. Apart from Don Jr. basically stealing the plot of the movie Paper Moon, the only thing more disgusting here than Christians appropriating the secular documents of the United States is that Don Jr. is selling a product in which his dad has blessed what Christians consider the Word of God. Yes, in Trump world, Trump blesses God, not the other way around. By the way, most churches will still provide free copies of the Bible to anyone who needs one. At any rate, in the second administration of Trump, Don Jr. has maintained his place as a rambling mouthpiece for his dad. Earlier this week, he delivered these incoherent remarks. No wonder one lawmaker has threatened to punch his lights out. Take a look.
Or didn't have Russia invade, unlike all the prior presidents and Joe Biden, their neighboring nations. Why don't we bring that back? Ukraine can overperform. I don't think they're winning. It seems like, the news will say, every time Russia makes a gain, it's not really a significant strategic victory. Every time Ukraine makes some sort of gain, it's very significant No one knows. Okay, they don't know. They're trying to make it seem, but this has been going on forever. Obviously, Russia has underperformed. Everyone thought this thing would be over in 2 weeks. But when they ask for F-16s, then what's next? Where does it end? Where does the blank check stop? So, like everything that Trump's been right about, you can see his tweet on Truth Social, first come the tanks. It's gonna never end. Until we say enough is enough, no one's coming to the table. Until we say we're not funding this crap anymore, no one has an incentive to negotiate. At what point does Russia say, hey, you know what? Now that we're at war with the United States, essentially, now we've been in a proxy war for basically, a year at this point. Since its inception, right? As if you miss your taxes by $2, the IRS is coming to visit you. The Pentagon, what's a couple $100 billion between friends? So I imagine there's more money being sent over there. So, and as long as they're doing that, and I imagine as long as people are grifting off of this and making their billions and stealing whatever it is, and, we see the Taliban's now selling our vehicles that we left there of the billions in equipment there to Russia so they can use it against Ukraine, who we're supporting in this proxy war. When does it end? When do people in Russia say, hey, we're fighting the U.S. at this point, and escalate? Because that's what I'm worried about. This stuff should be overstacked.
Cocaine, anyone? I'm not offering, I'm just suggesting that could be why Don Jr. makes no sense here. That, or he inherited his dad's gene for stupidity. Either way, if I was him, I'd get my DNA decontaminated. Moving on. This week, besides his odd ranting you just saw, Don Jr. ran afoul of Canadian Senator Patrick Brazeau of Quebec, and he will live to regret it. For anyone unfamiliar, Brazeau is of Algonquin descent. He also has his own sordid history, which somehow seems fitting for what happened this week. Following Donald Trump's implementation of 25% tariffs on goods from Canada, tariffs, by the way, that he walked back, check out our other videos for more on that mess. Following Trump's imposing tariffs, Brazeau went on Twitter to express his displeasure. Things took a wild turn from there. Taking to Twitter on Thursday, Brazeau expressed his ire over the tariffs and challenged Don Jr. to an actual boxing match. Dear Donald Trump Jr., I once had a boxing match with Justin Trudeau and lost. I know, I still can't believe it myself. But I no longer smoke and have been sober for almost 5 years. In light of these bogus tariffs from President Donald Trump, from the United States onto Canada, I challenge you to a fight to raise money for cancer research or an organization of your choosing. Our countries don't need to be at war, but we can fight to raise money. I'm in if you are. P.S. American tariffs have nothing to do with fentanyl. It has to do with our oil, freshwater, minerals, resources, and our Arctic, just to name but a few. For the record, Brazeau did once box with Justin Trudeau about 10 years ago. Brazeau lost. Following the tweet, Brazeau doubled down on his offer. The CBC reached Brazeau for comment where he claimed he was, quote, 100% serious. Just looking at everything that has transpired in the last 2 months, I just was wondering, what could I do? Let's duke it out and let's see how much courage the Trumps and the president's son truly have. I just wanted to call an American out, and it just so happens to be the president's son. Brazow said he considered challenging Vice President J.D. Vance, but settled on Trump Jr. as a more symbolic stand-in for the president. No doubt if he actually had a boxing match with Trump, the president would probably die in the first few seconds. Ditto Vance, who, for all his touting of his military service, is very out of shape. We are also willing to bet that Don Jr. has a glass jaw as well, and that his constant trumpeting of machismo is actually just a defense mechanism since, deep down, he's a whiny, spoiled brat just like his dad. On the other hand, maybe I'm wrong, in which case Don Jr. has the opportunity to prove just how tough he really is, not to mention defend his dad's honor, and we use that term very loosely. Defend Trump's honor in the face of this tariff embarrassment. Maybe they could duke it out like Mad Max Thunderdome style. Think of all the money they could raise for charity. There's a temptation to criticize Brazow here for showboating or encouraging violence, but then again, who hasn't wanted to punch Don Jr. in the face at least once? About 300 million people stateside have felt that way. Don Jr., if you're watching, be a true patriot. Take this one for America and for your dad. Or get your DNA fumigated. No doubt we will all have to fumigate the country once you and your walking venereal disease of a dad have left the White House. I'm David Reddish.